Harrison, why don't you describe what Malort tastes like?
I'll describe as I drink it. Hey guys, this is Tippling with Friends. I'm Harrison Ginsberg, the bar manager from Crown Chai. Today I'm here with Kristina Magro, who is the general manager of Lone Wolf in Chicago. She is also the co-founder of a nonprofit in Chicago called Support Staff. Welcome, Kristina. I'm really happy to have you on here.
I'm happy to be here, Harrison. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Kristina and I would say came up around the same time in the Chicago bar scene when I spent time in Chicago. I've always been not only a lover of her drinks, her cocktails, her bars, but just her approach to the industry and what she does to support her community. It's really inspiring. So just to kick things off, Kristina, I want to kind of have a drink with you while we have this conversation. Do you have something prepared?
Yes, I do. So Topo Chico for hydration because it's important.
Nice.
And then I have a little morning mezcal here. So it's Alipus from St. Louis. So it's nice and tasty, vegetal mezcal. And a green tea because, need 3 beverages.
Cool. Change my screen around. I have a very special drink today just for this. We've got a little mini nip of Malort. If you don't know, Malort is a Chicago staple, very bitter and astringent. I'm going to be a little crazy and make a quick little Malort and tonic.
Nice.
I'm going to use an ounce of Malort. I have this nice little cocktail glass. Squeeze of lemon, brighten it up. Some tonic. I don't know how this is going to be, but we'll see.
Harrison, why don't you describe what Malort tastes like?
I'll describe as I drink it. Very bitter. It's actually quite nice with the tonic and lemon, I gotta say. It just kind of stays with you for a really long time. It like hits you right here and doesn't stop. It's like if you're just gnawing on a really dry grapefruit peel, and it does not stop. So cheers, Kristina. It's good to have you on here. So, general manager of Lone Wolf, tell us a little bit about Lone Wolf and what you guys are doing right now. If you guys are doing anything to support your staff, are you guys doing any bottled cocktails? Are you closed completely? What's going on with Lone Wolf?
So Lone Wolf is located in the West Loop of Chicago, which is a pretty busy part of the city. It's where a lot of restaurants are located. So we are a pretty large bar that is high volume. Our cocktail program, we have about 32 cocktails, 14 house cocktails, and then the rest are classic cocktails. And then we have 2 frozen machines.
So 32 are listed on a menu?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. I didn't realize it was that many. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all just broken up in categories to make it more palatable. And then we have 2 frozen drinks that change periodically. So before we closed, it was Dewar's 12 Penicillin and then a Banks Hemingway Daiquiri.
Cool.
We are currently closed. We have a GoFundMe going for our entire company because we have 8 other venues within our company. So it's a company-wide GoFundMe, but I'm personally taking advantage of all of these bartender challenges that we're getting and the opportunities that I've received to start a fund specific for my staff, just to give them a little bit more.
Awesome. And you've kind of taken that upon yourself to do that?
Yeah, I mean, why not? At first, to be honest, I was like, I don't want to do any of these things. I want to enjoy my free time. But then I kind of like, why leave money on the table? And it's just a way to get more money in the hands of the people that like I care about and want to make sure that are happy. So I think in this time, we're all trying to be creative of our fundraising sources,
I think this is one of the things that I've always really appreciated about you, Kristina, is your ability to kind of culminate a team and build a team and care for a team. You've done it numerous times over and it really shows. And I really respect it. And I think what you do is pretty amazing. Speaking of that, I want to hear about what you're doing with support staff. So if you could kind of just start from square one, you co-founded this nonprofit. Let's hear kind of why you did that to begin with, and then how you've shifted things to provide relief specifically for COVID-19.
Yeah, so Supports Up, it all kind of stemmed from an idea a little over a year ago when we were just talking about how we sustain ourselves like within this industry, because we experienced a lot of loss in Chicago over the past couple years. So I teamed up with my two business partners, Laura Kelton and Moni Bunny, and we kind of wanted to raise awareness about things that were going on within the industry that people were struggling with, and then try to help them with that. So mental health challenges, substance abuse, addiction, depression, things like that. So we just started our own nonprofit to kind of help bridge the gap between mental health professionals and community partners so people can get the help that maybe they're seeking. And we do recognize that almost 90% of this industry is uninsured. So a lot of our resources that we're gathering are either free or very heavily discounted. So money shouldn't be the issue when you're trying to seek help. So we always had in mind this idea of CompTab. We wanted to have this fund of which people could reach out to us if they weren't financially able to seek the help that they were looking for. And we would be able to help finance that. So we've always wanted to do that, but then obviously when, a pandemic happens, we need to focus our efforts. So we really moved very quickly on establishing this CompTab, because we did notice, like right out the gate, that there were still a lot of support for bartenders to make various forms of revenue within this time of unemployment. But the people who were getting left in the dust were people who don't have the luxury of getting government assistance, whether that be like independent contractors, people who don't have citizenship. So we wanted to create a fund that kind of shines a light on those people. So we've teamed up with a lot of community activists and a couple other nonprofits, one of which being Pilot Light.
Wow. So this is pretty amazing. So can you kind of just like walk me through from the 15th, bars and restaurants were mandated to close. Walk me through that timeline of you guys getting in touch with each other, your business partners, and then getting everything running so you could start the CompTab.
So yeah, I'm just going to be like 100% honest with the process. So we have filed for our own 501c3, but it's still pending. So you are allowed to accept donations under a pending 501c3. We wanted to work with other people so that everyone felt comfortable of where their donations were going. So the moment that the 15th started, it was like, sound the alarm, we're on the phone trying to get our graphic designer on it, like trying to figure out what are the best options. Do we get a GoFundMe? What are our fundraising options? Do we sell merch? Because we noticed that people were selling merch, and if you can get something in return, people are more likely to donate. So we were trying to figure out what the best option was. And the best option for us was we were going to start a GoFundMe and then look for private donors to match our GoFundMe. So within like the first week, we not only got a couple nonprofit partners to share our networks, but also we had a private donor that is willing to match our GoFundMe up to $35,000. Then we could immediately get the ball rolling. And what we did is worked with several mental health professionals to generate our survey. So we could, within these questions, because it is quite extensive, if you apply for our aid, we do have several more questions versus like USBG or something. But that's just because we're really trying to evaluate and give the people who are in the highest need first. So if you think about it, it's like a very, very extensive tip pool that's extrapolated out by categories and like emergency of need. So the people who can't apply for any government aid are going straight to the top.
This is what I love so much about our industry, but really Chicago, it's such a community-based industry. Most people in this pandemic, their first thought on the 15th or 16th when they found out that their restaurants or bars were closing were like, man, I really have to worry about myself. What am I going to do? And you and your business partners and clearly several other people in Chicago immediately thought, well, we have to help other people in need. It's really amazing. So it seems like you haven't stopped working at all, huh?
No. But I have a really strong team. Like our support staff team is growing and growing every day, which is incredible. And it's really humbling to see how many people want to get involved. And our core team is incredible. And I think for me, it's like, yes, this time is extremely unfortunate, but you have to kind of look at it as a blessing in disguise. It's like we have the ability to take a pause on the rat race of life and like the grind and focus on some stuff that we haven't had the ability to. I think that instead of taking this time to like feel bad or panic, I'm going to take this time to try to not only help but also champion the people who are trying to create and implement like actual change for our industry, because we can't go back to the way that things were before. We need to change some things. We need to start to figure out how to make this industry as a whole more sustainable for the people in it, not only for like the small businesses, but for everyone involved.
I guess on that note, what is the overall kind of hanging vibe in Chicago right now? Are people out and about? Is the weather starting to change probably? So like, are people exercising outside? Are people hanging out with each other? Like, I know in New York, at least for me and in my neighborhood, like it is very clear that people are making a very conscious effort to stay home, to wear masks out no matter where they go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is in rubber gloves. Mm-hmm. Everybody is in a mask or a bandana. Do you see that in Chicago, or is it a little more relaxed? What's going on?
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, the weather turned. We had a couple 70-degree days. It was nuts. The parks were packed, like the 606.
Just in Chicago in general, when those 70-degree days hit in Chicago,
people were in shorts. It's like people were having picnics. Like in the parks, people were having picnics on the beach. They were like playing baseball and volleyball, and it was like nothing was going on. And Lori Lightfoot, I don't know if you've seen all the memes, but there's so many memes because she's just been like laying down the law, because she's just like, okay, no, like you guys can't go anywhere. You have to stay home. And I feel like this past week specifically, you can definitely now feel it. I have noticed that people exercising outside still aren't wearing masks. I would say 60% of the people are wearing masks outside. Grocery stores have definitely stepped up their game. Like everyone has masks, sanitizers, gloves, like only a certain number of people are allowed in. Before they were like, go to the grocery store, exercise, it's fine. But now I think their verbiage has changed and it's more dire. And I think that's what we need. But I do commend our governor and our mayor. I think they've done like a really good job. And
so in kind of conjunction with that, so are bars now allowed to sell cocktails to go, like in New York? Are people doing that?
They always have been. Delivery's been open since the 15th. Smaller businesses are now making like bundles, cook at home, or make this cocktail at home. They're even doing like bodega style stuff where you can buy like toilet paper and other things that you need. I think what's hard for me, like as a general manager, because I've thought about it, like I really want to give people cocktails, but I also don't want to put anyone in danger, or I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do these things, because in Illinois, when all of the restaurants shut down, you're only allowed to sell to-go things. As a management, no hourly employee is allowed to be there to assist you. So if you do make this decision, it can only be somebody who is paid salary and is still on salary.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a huge decision to make, whether to just say, no, we're not going to do this, or to be like, you know what, we're calling in all management. We need your help. We're going to sell these things. It's totally a double-edged sword. And
it's like, I want my company to make money, obviously, and I want to make money for my staff, but I also want everybody to be safe. So it's just like, I don't know.
So outside of championing the community, setting up this nonprofit, what have you been doing at home, non-bar related, to kind of keep your sanity?
Well, I've taken this time to catch up on a bunch of books that I haven't had the chance to read. I like to read books in threes. You don't get too stuck on one. I'm reading The Richest Man in Babylon, which is, it just gives you different perspectives on how to deal with situations in life. And then when I worked at Prairie School, Jim would bring me a book every time he would come into town, and I definitely didn't have the time to read any of those. So this is one that I just started. It's handmade, and it's the creative focus in the age of distraction. And it's like a woodworking book, which is really cool. And then I'm reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. And if you
Cool.
haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's very good.
Cool. Are you also reading any other books relating to the bar world or management, or you're just kind of taking a cool break from that?
So I am also reading Dave Broom's The Way of Whiskey. It's like Japanese whiskey book, because not only is it beautiful, but I really like the way that it's written. I actually took a couple online class. Cornell University was offering like online management classes of like how to deal with this whole situation, like moving forward. So I took those last week, but I'm really trying to read other books that aren't like cocktail books, because that tends to be what I typically read all the time.
Well, it's pretty clear that you are a leader in the industry. You've taken very little time for yourself. You're continuing to educate yourself, taking online courses, the nonprofit. I commend you. I think the industry really needs people like you, and I'm very proud to have you on here, Kristina. So just wanted to say thank you for having a drink with me, and it was really nice talking.
Yeah, it's nice talking to you too, Harrison. Thank you.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Bye.